Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Alley Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network.
Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to Fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams.
And welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad, Bryan, to my right, your right. I'm Eli Moon, and we are back in the saddle. It is Monday. We are back here for another edition of Inside Edge Primetime. So glad you're here with us for another fun week. We got a lot planned for you, so stay tuned. Of course, our return of Tuesday Top 5 later on this week, way back Wednesday, and a lot more in store with the Primetime guys. We are excited to be with you. Again, if you're just here for the first time, hello. Nice to meet you. That's Chad to my right. You're right. I'm Eli Moon. And make sure you like, subscribe, follow all the great stuff Inside Edge Net on the socials, YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, all the socials. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when we're going live. We're here with you every night, 10 to 11 o'clock Eastern time here on the Inside Edge Network. And of course, we have great daily programming on Filter with Kyle Cornell, 5 to 6 p.m. weekdays, and Midnight Run with Anthony Alford to follow us at midnight to 1, weeknights. And of course, a lot of great weekly programming as well. Make sure you stay locked in. Of course, the website as well, InsideEdgeNetwork.com. We can check out all about your personalities, your favorite personalities from the Inside Edge Network, like Chad and I and everybody else. Of course, a lot to read there. Go check out the partners page. If you go to that QR code right there, boom, that way, right above Chad's head, he usually does it for me. He's going to take you right to the QR code. He's going to point you in the direction. You're going to go to InsideEdgeNetwork.com. Check out our great partners, Fanatics.com, AlleyRoseFragrances.com, Monster Moments, W Energy, and SportsMemorabilia.com. We appreciate all of our partners. Could not do it without you. Cannot do it without you at home. So we appreciate you tuning in. And a great deal right now on InsideEdgeNetwork.com at the shop page where you can get mugs, hats, shirts, jackets, all the great stuff. If you use the promo code INSIDER, again, that's INSIDER, you can get 20% off your order right now. So that means if you're buying one thing, 20% off. If you're buying 10 things, 20% off. That's a great deal right now on some really cool gear, and you can help support a grassroots company, organization like ourselves. This network has been built from the ground up, and we appreciate bringing you something different as Cleveland's digital leader, your source of sports, entertainment, mental health conversations, news, and everything in between. So again, promo code INSIDER at the InsideEdgeNetwork.com. If we get 10 purchases before the end of June, Kyle Cornell shaves my head on Unfiltered. So let's stay tuned with all that. All right, Chad, I got to ask you, pal. It's been a few days since I've seen you here on the Primetime setting. Things look a little different for you. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm good. Got not a whole new setup, but I got, hopefully a little faster setup. Was forced to upgrade. Was rocking the Windows 10 PC for a little bit too long. I had to buy a new one. I didn't want to spend the money, but I had to do it. So everything smooth so far. The setup was pretty good, not bad. Got it up in a few hours, so not a big deal. But I'm doing pretty good, man. It's Monday. I for some reason and by the way, I was going to say, while you were doing the intro, I was trying not to laugh at myself. I went to move my mouse and I clicked and it grazed across the end stream button. And I was like, man, I'm glad there's like an idiot button. Like there's like a second. I was like, we're almost at like a 4-minute show tonight, but that's fine because I didn't do that. We're still here. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, I guess.
Well, I'm glad we're still here. I'm glad you're still here and everybody's still rocking with us. My goodness gracious. What a busy week, pal, right? Busy weekend. The sun is finally shining. 86, I believe, is what it hit up to 86 or 88, I believe, even at one point here in Parma. I mean,
89 in my car at one point today when I was going to get the kids from school. So yeah,
that is amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing. And some people will say, it's too hot too fast. To those, I say it was snowing a month ago. Yeah. So I am so here for it. Some of us may know, I am a July birthday, so I'm a Leo. So this is my time to shine, pal. So we are rocking and rolling. And you're a June guy. So you look, summer is our months.
I'm a baseball guy. The heat's fine. And listen, by the way, you got something you don't normally get with 89 today. There was a really nice breeze. It normally doesn't sit at 89 with a good breeze, but I mean, it kept it pretty cool. It wasn't that bad outside. I mean, I didn't think it was that. I thought it was actually very pleasant.
Absolutely. I can't wait to get our guy Matt Wentz hopefully back on here soon. I would love to hear what his forecast is for June. I'm hoping a lot of sunshine, a lot of good baseball weather, and maybe we'll get to the bottom of the onion situation with Matt. I mean, I'm still stunned at this point. So
we're all a little stunned. I actually texted him today and he joked. He said, it's too hot, ready for fall. And I'm like, okay. He said, just kidding.
Oh, no.
But I think we do have to get to the bottom of the onion situation for sure. We got to.
Most definitely.
We're going to talk about that.
Absolutely. Another thing we got to talk about. Go ahead.
It's a lot to unpack. I'm sorry.
It sure is. No, I want to make sure you didn't have any insider information you were about to reveal here. Like, here's what's going on with. All right, we'll wait to see what Matt's got to say. All right, perfect, Chad. Let's get into this here because another thing to talk about, as I almost so rudely interrupted you, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have accomplished something they haven't done since 2018. And for this team, a lot of these guys, something for the first time in their career. The Cavaliers heading back to the Eastern Conference Finals. If you missed it last night, they defeated the Detroit Pistons in Detroit, 125-94 in Game 7. They're going to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. They'll take on the New York Knicks tomorrow night in Madison Square Garden, and a game that a lot of eyes will be on. I was reading reports, Chad, through TickPick, actually, the ticket website, that this is the largest.
Okay, I'm glad you.
I clarify. They are saying this is one of the most, if not the most expensive game to get into for a conference finals. Okay. Like this, I think I saw the buy-in price, like to get in, just in like the nosebleeds, it's $500.
Okay.
So what that means is me and you are going to have to put together our change, and we're going to try to get out to Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. And if not, we'll be here to a prime time.
Well, I can put together my change, and what we can do is what channel is it on?
Tomorrow it's actually on ESPN, and the entire series will be on ESPN for the Cavaliers. Glad you brought that up because of streaming.
That's what I'll be able to afford. ESPN. That's
I love it, pal. Well, hey, they are going to be on ESPN. We'll probably watch them on ESPN from the comforts of our home. Of course, we'll have post game with you tomorrow night. It'll be Chad, myself, and Kyle Cornell from Unfiltered. He'll have you ready with an impromptu, in a way, pre-game show. He's going to talk about his the other current events in the news of the world on Unfiltered, but he's also going to have some keys to victory for Game 1 for the Cavaliers. So stay tuned at 5:00 tomorrow here on the Inside Edge Network. We'll have post-game. Chad, myself, again, and Kyle will get his reaction to after the game. We'll see if his keys were used for these doors to open to success, or if they just didn't work. They're faulty keys. We'll see.
Eli, let me ask you: do you think the ticket cost is just like it's the Knicks, right? I mean, is it they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, or is it Madison Square? Is it the venue? Is it just the city? What do you think is the reason for the $500 just to get in the building, basically?
Yeah, I think there's a few different factors, Chad. That's a great question. I think that that's a few different things, right? One, it is Madison Square Garden. It is the Mecca, and I know there's other and I know other arenas are going to try to, come in, you have the Intuit Dome in LA that they're trying to make it as the new big arena. And there's other arenas that'll be made, and nothing beats Madison Square Garden. Now, I've never had the pleasure of being inside Madison Square Garden. But what I can say is I was outside of it last June when I was just walking around, had a little bit of extra free time. Whenever I did have a free time when I was out there for business, and I stepped out and I got to see Madison Square Garden, bro. There are people taking pictures on every side of that place. Yeah. Right. Even if they can't get in, just taking pictures. It is like, I know we see that from time to time at Rocket Arena in Cleveland. You don't see that very often. This is like a heralded venue, not only an arena, not only for sports, but think about all the great music concerts they've had there and all the great stand-up comedians they've had. I mean, it is the place where a lot of careers are, like, this is where you made it. You're at the Madison Square Garden, and kind of fitting that the Cavaliers were talking about, can they get back to their first final since 2018, first Eastern Conference final since 2018. For this team, a lot of guys have never been in this position, Chad, and how fitting that we talk about Madison Square Garden being where teams or players or whatever, artists, comedians make their break. This is where they made the big time. It seems like the Cavaliers have a chance to show their big time right now, 3 years removed from an embarrassing first round loss, I believe, against the New York Knicks. It was in the first round. And I mean, just an embarrassing loss. I mean, the team looks a little different now. Bench players a little different. You know, Darius Garland no longer in the fold. James Harden in place of him, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's the best example or best thing I can say about James Harden right now is he's in place of him, but we don't know about good plays.
It depends. You have your ups and downs for sure. Yeah.
Chad, I'm curious your thoughts. This is going to be a big series, for the Cavaliers. What do you make? First off, if you have some, lingering thoughts from Game 7, because I know we were on with Main Event, Rob Ruzicki, Anthony Alford, and myself yesterday, and we had the post game. But if you have any lingering thoughts from Game 7 you want to get off your chest, now's the time to do it, and then let's pivot into this New York series.
Yeah, Game 7. We'll start there. I think that's a good way to do it. A good place to start. Game 7. It's funny because these games make me feel okay. You're excited to watch the Cavs win, right? 125-94. The game was never close. I mean, it was never really. It wasn't in doubt at any point. And it felt like when Donovan Mitchell hit the three. Well, it wasn't a three. It was about a half court shot to end the first half. It felt like, okay, the Pistons aren't coming back. They're not going to make this a game. The Cavs are in complete control. Donovan Mitchell had 3 assists in the first 4 possessions for the Cavs. Yeah. They just came out with their hair on fire, right? With this intensity and this focus, and like they didn't. It wasn't. You didn't see ISO ball, right? You saw again the Kenny Atkinson ball movement that we were all told was going to be a thing when he came over. It was like, hey, he's been in Golden State. He's been here. It's ball movement. We saw that again, and we don't always see that. And I get that sometimes the defense predicates what you do on offense. You're reacting to certain things, but you can avoid playing ISO ball. You can move the ball. You can swing the ball around the perimeter and get a good shot, right? That's what the Cavs did. I mean, they just looked really, really good. And it felt like, again, it's exciting to watch, but it's a little bit frustrating because it's like, well, why did they wait until Game 7 to bring this kind of intensity and this kind of focus? And I know some nights you go out and you don't have it. But some nights you go out and it looks like, and I don't mean try. I'm not trying to say that they weren't trying effort wise, but it's like, this isn't the way that they ran their offense in Game 6. Like they just, it didn't look like that, right? It wasn't, I don't know. So again, it sort of makes me feel a little bit uneasy. If they can go in and steal one at Madison Square Garden though, looking ahead, because that's all I'm really going to say about Game 7. I was excited, but also a little frustrated, right? You just have to keep that intensity. You can't wait until Game 7 with the Knicks because their heads are going to spin. That's it. And the series is going to be over. There's going to be 5. It's going to be, 5 games and they're going to be out. You can't wait. You have to bring the intensity in Game 1. From the tip, right? In Game 1 at Madison Square, you got to be ready to go. So that's what I hope. That's what I hope to see. I don't get the impression that all the national. I know, like a lot of people have been talking about the national media writing the Cavs off, and I don't really get that. That's the case right now. I mean, I was actually reading just ESPN. I was going through some of their predictions earlier today, and a lot of even the guys that are picking the Knicks have the series going 7 games, 6 games, 7 games, 7 games, and I'm like, I think people expect the Cavs to compete, right? To win a couple of games, at least like 2-3 games. I don't think that people think the Cavs have no chance. A couple of people pick the Cavs in the series and for Donovan Mitchell to be MVP. I don't know. I just feel like they have to keep that intensity and the focus, and you've got to defensively. It's going to be a struggle. The Knicks are really good. They're playing at a high level, but they haven't played in 9-10 days. So we're gonna have to see it's rest versus rust, right? We've talked about it before, you and I have.
Yeah, it's going to be rust versus rust. It's going to be a very important Game 1 tomorrow night in Madison Square Garden. And I completely understand your frustrations because the Cavaliers have not had this type of ball movement really throughout most of the playoffs like they did last night. That was the most fluid they've looked. That was the most comfortable they looked. The front court didn't look like anybody could compete with them down low in the paint, that it was their paint and anybody else was renting time in there until they were trying to kick them out. And that's really where it was coming down to. Donovan Mitchell, I mean, so calm, poised, collected, whatever you want to say. I mean, the game slowed down for him yesterday. It was very cool. It reminded me a little bit of Dwayne Wade. and I didn't get the chance to bring that up on main event yesterday. It reminded me a little bit of Dwayne Wade. And I'm not saying entirely, okay, but some of the times Dwayne Wade really was at his best was when he slowed down, would have that, okay, I got past the first wave of defenders. Now I'm going to sit here and I'm kind of figure it out from like the mid-range, and I have so many options because I got to respect my drive. They got to respect that I can still shoot the ball from here or step back out. They got to respect the pass. And that's what Donovan Mitchell recognized yesterday is the Detroit Pistons have to respect you as a player once you elevate yourself to what we're expecting out of you, which is what Donovan did last night. Stan Van Gundy mentioned on the broadcast. I thought he did a great job on the broadcast and mentioned on Amazon Prime yesterday that, hey, Donovan Mitchell, this is probably one of the best games I've seen you play. And some people are going to say, well, he didn't have 45, 50 points. I get it. But he literally, and Tim Alcorn, actually the Cavs radio voice, who was on with AA Anthony Alford earlier today, here breaking down the Eastern Conference Finals and breaking down this series, just the aftermath and everything like that. Of course, you'll hear that again on Midnight Run here on the Inside Edge Network tonight. So make sure you stay tuned for that with Anthony Alford. Yeah. But I thought it was a really good. Yeah, absolutely. It was cool always having Tim back on the network. It's always great. And let's keep this thing rocking. And he brought up a great point, Chad. That Donovan Mitchell was doing a little bit of everything, right? Yeah. You know, he was doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and he was impacting the game in every way possible. The defense was clean and way better than we've seen, and 0 turnovers. Another point Tim had mentioned, 0 turnovers for Donovan yesterday, 1 between Harden and Donovan, and we can be critical of James Harden. I spent a good amount of time yesterday on main event doing so.
Yeah.
But I think really the big thing is if you can at least get this effort out of Donovan in the front court, and Harden doesn't at least turn the ball over 6, 7, 8 times, then you're in a position to win. Now, when you look at the role players, what does this do for the next series? You know, is Strus going to stay in the starting lineup? I like that. I like that a lot, actually, Chad.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that Dean Wade can now come in as a rested defender, give hell to whoever it is. This last round was Cade Cunningham.
With
this
fresh
round,
legs, yeah.
Maybe some OG Anunoby or, you know, defending Mikal Bridges, giving the wings a little bit of heck. And now Sam Merrill gets more extended minutes. He's now in the position where, because to be honest, and I talked about this yesterday on main event, when you have Strus and Merrill in the same lineup, in the same rotation, the same unit, they kind of serve the same purpose in a way. Strus is the better with the ball in his hands. He's going to create a little bit more plays. And yes, he's probably a better defender than Sam Merrill. But Sam Merrill still plays some strong defense, and he shoots the 3 ball, which is pretty common with most of Max Strus' offensive game. So I just think it didn't really make a ton of sense to have those guys on there if you're not having a playmaker typically on the floor like Donovan, like James Harden. And that's no discredit to Dennis Schroeder, but I think this way opens it up where, okay, now you have Sam Merrill to run that second unit as a 3-ball sharpshooter, and now you have Max Strus creating a little bit more noise in the starting lineup. It gives somebody they have to respect from 3. Not that
I will say with having both of them out there, at least I think created some opportunities in the paint for the Cavs, because you do have to kind of stay out. You can't just sag in on Donovan Mitchell and collapse on him when he drives. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. No, we're just having a conversation, pal. We're all good. Cavs won, baby. So, you know, it's I just think that's huge for the Cavaliers. You know, creating a little more spacing. Yeah, they have somebody they have to absolutely respect. Yeah. You know, I was talking to my bro narrator actually earlier today, and I said, man, for these Cavaliers, this is the first time they're really in this position for a lot of these guys. The only guy I can think of is James Harden that's been past this round. He goes, hey, don't forget about Max Strus. And, you know, we don't think about it. And yes, Max Strus 2020 with the Miami Heat during that bubble year, you know, and a lot of people have their thoughts about the bubble. Please save those for another day. But he was in that finals against the Los Angeles Lakers. So really, you know, when it comes down to it, we've talked about how much value Max Strus has already brought since his return from injury, just impacting offense, defense. I mean, really being a presence on both ends of the floor. Now we could really lean on him as terms of veteran leadership. There's not a lot of guys that can tell you, hey, this is how you get to the finals. James Harden can do it, and Max Strus can do it. Exactly.
That's it. Yeah, and I agree with something you said about James Harden. I don't think you need 25 or 30 out of him. If he's not going to turn the ball over, fine. I get it. Sometimes you don't have your shot, right? You're just whatever. Your legs aren't there. Whatever it is, mechanics are off. You just don't have your shot that night. As long as he's not turning the ball, 1 turnover from him, fantastic, right? Yep. Not a ton of assists, but I thought he did a lot of other things. He grabbed some rebounds. I thought he showed a little more hustle. There was just more intensity and more focus in general. And again, I always feel like I sound like an old guy, but just like you could see guys like actually getting in front of people, moving their feet, getting in passing lanes, kind of like disrupting, you know, the Pistons offense and like that natural flow. And I think they got in Ausar Thompson's head a little bit too, by the way. Just the whole series, right? He felt like he said afterwards, I don't know, the series felt personal to him, but it just felt like he was like overly physical the whole series, trying to prove a point of being that tough guy, being the enforcer or whatever. And he kept going after Sam Merrill. I don't know, like
I know, poor Money Merrill, man.
Yeah, I guess he's just got one of those faces, man. Like Sam Merrill always makes me laugh because when I see him on the court, he looks like, and I cannot think of the guy's name from Saturday Night Live, but it looks like the guy from SNL playing Sam Merrill. And it makes me chuckle every single time because I'm like, that's spot on. But then he'll knock down a three in your face, like just a deadly dagger three. But yeah, I don't. He just kept going after Merrill in that series and getting called for fouls. And I like Thompson. I think he was just a little overly aggressive. He just started to, I don't know. He couldn't quite find his shot, right? So he was looking for another way to contribute, and I think he was just getting frustrated and like just getting too physical.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Cavs caught him a lot with that extra effort that turned into some pretty costly fouls, honestly, for the Pistons. So
Absolutely, Chad. And it was cool to see, Money Merrill, as I love calling him, Sam Merrill. He showed a love to Donovan Mitchell, said nobody's happier for him than he is after this Game 7 last night. And I just think it's so cool. Donovan, remember, was wearing the Sam Merrill jersey during the three-point competition a few years ago. So the love for each other is there. The camaraderie is there. I think that's one thing we can't necessarily question. Over all the things we've questioned and, all across Cleveland, all across national media's questioned, one thing you can't question is camaraderie of this team. They will not throw anybody under the bus. You won't hear any of that. So I think that is something we can appreciate a little bit more now that they're one of the Final Four teams remaining. And hey, we talk all the time about the leader. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take a quick pause here, Chad. Before we do so, we're going to go ahead and play a quote here, a little clip from AA's interview with the Cavs radio voice, Tim Alcorn, talking about potentially the leader of this team. I know we look at Donovan, and yes, he is one of the leaders, but I think all systems go and stop with number 31, Jared Allen. And Tim Alcorn talked about the impact of Jared Allen, his Game 7. We're going to start calling him Game 7 JA here in Cleveland. We love it. Tim had this to say with AA Anthony Alford when they talked earlier today. So we're going to go to a quick pause after you hear the clip, and we'll be back. We'll talk more Cavaliers against the New York Knicks. Tomorrow night, we're going to preview that matchup a little bit here tonight. We'll talk about the NBA MVP situation. I got some things to get off my chest because it's Monday, and are you surprised? I'm going to talk about that. Chad will chime in as well, and we'll see who disagrees, agrees with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting the MVP. And later, Chad has been really upset with me, folks, because we haven't talked too much baseball the last week. So we are going to talk some Guardians. Rookie Bazana really seeming to heat up. We'll talk more Guardians later on in the show. Of course, here's Tim Alcorn with AA Anthony Alford earlier today on the Inside Edge Network talking about Game 7, Jared Allen.
Jared Allen in particular, I can't get him off my mind for what he has done, not just last night in the Game 7 against Detroit, but the Game 7 against Toronto in the first round. Jared Allen, to me, has been really special. What do you think overall from what you have seen from him in particular?
Yeah, Anthony, you referenced the 2 Game 7s. Maybe we should have Jared wear a 7 on his uniform rather than 31. I don't know if he'd give up 31, but man, has his light shone brightly in those 2 Game 7 performances. And he was just a dominant force in that low block last night. And as you said, whether it was the result of a text exchange with Dan Gilbert or a little bit of pep talk or who knows, maybe Jared just looked inward. Whatever the case may be, he came out with a ferocity and an intensity in Game 7 against Detroit, which he had shown in the Game 7 against Toronto, that when he's playing at that level, he is hard to stop. He's just a force offensively and defensively. He wasn't going to let Detroit get offensive rebounds. He was just a presence in that low block at both ends of the floor. And that's all-star Jared Allen. And obviously the Cavaliers are going to need that type of performance against the Knicks in this upcoming series. But he was very, very special in Game 7 against the Pistons.
Hey guys, what a show we had today. A lot breaking down. The Cavaliers obviously get the job done. We'll have keys to the game tomorrow as far as what Cleveland needs to do to get off on the right foot in the series against the Knicks. It's going to be a challenge. We also talked about the stuff going on with the city of Cleveland and Brook Park, the IX Center. That land looks like it's going to be taken care of. Any updates, of course, we'll keep you guys in the know about that. And a lot more news and notes going on in Northeast Ohio. There's always something going on. Make sure you tune in 5 o'clock tomorrow right here on the Inside Edge Network.
And we thank you for your support of the Inside Edge Network. And don't miss my show, Midnight Run, right here on the Inside Edge Network. You won't miss a single episode when you like and subscribe at Inside Edge Net.
Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. There were 15 flavors to choose from. You can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code InsideEdge10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, which means he's over to your right. And I'm Eli Moon, and we are back in the saddle here on Inside Edge Primetime. We appreciate you being with us and for being you. Somebody didn't remind you that today. Thanks for being you and appreciate you being here with us. We're here with you till 11 o'clock. Of course, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford to follow. You heard a clip there of his interview with the Cavs radio voice, Tim Alcorn, from earlier today on the Inside Edge Network. Again, you'll hear that at Midnight Run, the interview in entirety later on tonight. So make sure you like, subscribe, follow, all that great stuff. Inside Edge Net is where you want to do that, and hit the notification bell so you can stay locked in with us here. Of course, it's Cleveland's digital leader, and make sure you check out the website, InsideEdgeNetwork.com. Read about your favorite personalities. Check out the partners page, all of our great partners, W Energy, Fanatics.com, SportsMemorabilia.com, AlleyRoseFragrances.com, and Mosser Moments. We appreciate all of you, and we appreciate you. Go check out the website. Use the promo code INSIDER. Again, INSIDER. Get 20% off of your entire order. Great stuff. You buy one item, you buy 10, you buy 15, 20% off your order. Great stuff. If we get 10 purchases by the end of this month, Kyle Cornell from Unfiltered will shave my head on an Unfiltered episode June 1st. So stay tuned. Again, InsideEdgeNetwork.com is where you want to be. Inside Edge Net on all the socials. And we're back in the saddle here talking Cavaliers. Chad, we talked about Game 7. We heard from our friend Tim Alcorn about Game 7, Jared Allen. Even, Tim talking about maybe changing Jared Allen's number to number 7. We love it. We love it. Let's talk about Jared Allen. Let's talk about these New York Knicks, right? Because if everybody recalls, and if they don't, we're here to remind you, that Jared Allen mentioned about the lights being too bright. In 2023, it was against the New York Knicks. This is full circle. This is the moment. Double A actually brought that up on Main Event last night during postgame. This is full circle for the Cavaliers because the majority of that team, the core, is here. Yeah. They are still ready to try to do what they tried to do in 2023. They just didn't maybe have the experience. Jared Allen was very clear by saying that. And it appears they are ready now, Chad. They have an opportunity here to go to their first NBA Finals now since 2018. They've done the Eastern Conference Finals. They're there for the first time since 2018. We can say we've did it. We've achieved what this team has not been able to achieve as this nucleus led by Donovan Mitchell.
That's fair. Yeah.
How do they get to their first NBA Finals since 2018? What are some of your early thoughts of this Cavs-Knicks series against a team that a lot of people are picking in the national media to just kind of handle us?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think there is some love for the Cavs. The first thing is they're going to have to take care of the basketball because we talk about it a lot, right? We say possessions are gold, right, in the postseason in the NBA. You want to score, right? Every time you have the ball, you want to try to score. At least give yourself the best possible chance to score. Obviously, you throw the ball out of bounds, you don't have a chance to score. So you got to take care of the basketball because this Knicks team is playing at a really high level. Well, at least they were. 2.5 months ago, the last time they played or whatever. It seemed like the series has gone on forever, but it's only about 9 or 10 days. But when they were playing last, they were playing at a very, very high level. And I know they haven't exactly played like, Philadelphia with a half out there. Joel Embiid wasn't exactly a juggernaut. I get it. They do have some nice players, and they did beat the Celtics, and I think they beat the Hawks in the first round. I don't know why I'm not remembering. Yeah, they beat the Hawks.
Yep. 6-game series against the Hawks.
Yeah, 4-2 the Hawks. Yeah, I don't know why I blanked for a second, but yeah. It's exactly like they've played like the juggernauts of the East. But we've also kind of talked about, like maybe the East being a little bit tougher than we gave it credit for coming into the season. So it's hard to say, but I don't know. I mean, it's not like the Knicks are playing really, really well. The Cavs are just going to have to defend well. They're going to have to keep this defensive intensity up. And they're going to have to decide whether they want to run the offense through the basically Harden and Mitchell or Allen and Mobley. And I think they're going to have to stick with that in some ways. Obviously, the Knicks are going to do things to adjust. You're going to have to, adjust back off of that and do things. But I think they need to find that offensive identity that they had in Game 7 against the Pistons and against the Raptors, oddly. Like I said, they seem to unleash that in Game 7. It's like, okay, well, we've played all 6 games of the series that we can play without possibly, we haven't lost yet. So now let's show everything we've got for Game 7 because they can't scout us for Game 8, right? Like, it's a weird thing. It's like it's a weird phenomenon. But again, they have to have that intensity in Game 1. They got to take care of the basketball. They're going to have to make the most of their possessions, and they're going to have to, just give effort for however many games. I feel like if they're going to win this series, it's going to go 7 again. So they're going to have to give effort they're going to have to give that Game 7 effort against the Pistons for 7 games of this series.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I'm still trying to figure out ultimately where I side on this series. There's a lot of things like about the Cavaliers, the front court. I think they finally have established that, okay, we are 2 of the best big men in basketball, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. I think they determined that. So I think that's kind of handled, right? Backcourt, I would give us a nod. Jalen Brunson's incredible and very good there for New York. But I think we have the nod there in the backcourt. The big thing's going to be the wings. Can the Cavaliers contain the wings? And I'm not talking food for a moment here. I know earlier you were thinking you were getting hungry.
Yeah, I thought we were going to. Yeah, when you said the wings are going to be a problem, I was like, why are they too spicy? I'll eat them.
Yeah, well, don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm more of a mild wing guy, so you would have all the spicy wings. It would be I'd push them over to you. But
you pay for that the next day, but that's fine. That's the difference.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, exactly. Price you pay for teamwork. We look at the New York Knicks. Yes, we look at the New York Knicks, and the wings are the big thing, though. I mean, you look at OG Anunoby, look at Mikal Bridges. Those are the 2 guys that stand out the most for me. Josh Hart kind of does a little bit of everything. I don't really know what to classify him as. I guess he's more of a forward, but I mean, he does almost everything for the New York Knicks. He is just very active on the glass. He's active in the passing game, getting the ball moving, and he can get a few buckets, crucial buckets if you need them to. And those other guys I mentioned, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Let's not forget OG Anunoby is probably one of the best 2-way wings in the NBA right now. I'm confident saying that. I mean, that's the reason the Knicks went out and got him from Toronto when they were starting their tear down, when they got rid of Pascal Siakam. They also moved off of OG Anunoby, and that was a big move for the New York Knicks. They got a 2-way wing, a guy that they can put there every day in the starting lineup and feel confident in. And then you go out and get Mikal Bridges this past offseason. You bring him in for, a slew. I mean, they traded almost a farm for him, and they bring him in. And he's the same way, a very strong defender and a guy that can knock down some threes, could really make it a problem for the Cavaliers. I think that's going to be the X factor. If the Cavaliers can have Dean Wade give some crucial minutes, these guys off the bench wear down these wings. And yes, I could see the Cavaliers actually winning this series and winning this series a little bit quicker than 7 games. It all is going to depend on Game 1, though, and really understanding how you match up, who's going to defend who is going on Donovan. I'd imagine it's probably OG Anunoby, if not Mikal Bridges, and the other one will probably defend James Harden. But, those are the things.
Yeah, and I think Karl Anthony Towns is going to have to play well enough to create some space there as well for the wings to operate, right? Because if he's not really doing anything, if they're not running their offense through him, if he's not playing well, then there's no reason to sag down. I mean, the Cavs shouldn't really give much, on the perimeter. I think they have guys that can defend the Knicks for the most part, as long as they're not being pulled in too many different directions, being asked to do too many different things. But I think Cat's going to be a big part of it. I think his play, if they decide to run the offense through him, might kind of dictate what the Cavs have to do defensively. And then, if he's playing well and the Knicks are knocking down shots, I mean, my goodness, they scored 144 points in that, that Game 4, that Sixers series. So, and again, Sixers not exactly a defensive juggernaut, but the Knicks can knock down shots. by far a better shooting team than the Raptors or the Pistons. So you're going to have to watch that.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things to keep an eye on. Again, game 1 for the Eastern Conference Finals, Cavs versus the Knicks tomorrow night in Madison Square Garden. Post game with Chad, Kyle, and myself right after the game. As soon as the final horn hits, you'll get the update. Once you hit that notification bell inside EdgeNet, that we are live, and you'll know what's going on. We'll give you our live reaction. And of course, Anthony Alford Midnight Run will follow right after that. It'll be one continuous stream tomorrow for you. So don't have to worry once you click on, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, wherever, Facebook, you're here with us till 1 in the morning. Very exciting stuff. And we appreciate you doing that with us and rock it out. So we'll talk some more Cavs Knicks tomorrow. I do want to play this real quick, Chad, before we pivot from the Cavaliers. I want to talk a little bit about this NBA MVP discussion, just a little time to that before we go to break. But I do want to play this clip. You actually brought this to my attention. It's been talked about really over the last 24 hours. The incredibleness. Is that a word? Incredibleness?
It is now.
Sure. The absolute the gratitude, the gratitude we should have as fans and everybody, but also just the gracious heart and the just incredible notion efforts by Dan Gilbert to get Cleveland in Detroit, to get busloads of fans this entire series to the game, season ticket holders to the game, rocking out, having a great time, chanting "Let's go Cavs," getting those Cavaliers ready to go on the road, bringing 25 busloads yesterday from the employees all the way from top to bottom, part-time, full-time, whatever have you, to the season ticket holder fans. It was absolutely remarkable, Chad. And I know we have some glowing remarks on it. I do want to get your thoughts on this. But of course, Kenny Atkinson, the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, has some things to say post-game in Game 7 about Dan Gilbert's incredible heart and the him being part of the diff. We talk about all the time, the diff, it pops up at Rocket Arena. Dan Gilbert was the big diff in this Game 7. Here we go.
He was better than Donovan Mitchell. Is that possible? I don't know if I can. That's like bad English. He started with him. His defense, rebounding, and then when he gets in the paint and starts making other people better, the dish offs to our big guys. That was the key, I felt like, to the game. So he had complete control of the game. Listen, man, I couldn't be happier for him. To make that next step. He's going home, to New York. He kept this thing together this year when things weren't going great. He was the beacon, the light, his leadership. He carried us on the court, right? Sam Merrill out 30 games, Evan out, J.A. out. He was the guy that carried us. And then when things weren't going great, he was the person everyone looked to. And his positivity. And I would have said this if we lost. I had a plan. If we lost, I was going to say the same thing. We could have splintered. If your leader splintered, if he goes in another direction, which you very well could have, things weren't going great. But he stayed positive. He supported the young guys. He never got down on the group. So just, kind of more kudos to him, in terms of getting to that, the level he wanted to get to. And I know he wants more.
All right. Well, as always, there's always a surprise on Inside Edge Primetime. We thought we had some Dan Gilbert sound. We'll play that for you coming back from break. Again, that's courtesy of Spencer German from 92.3 The Fan. But that was more so about the offense. And we've heard about Donovan Mitchell. We've heard about James Harden and those guys staying poised. Kenny Atkinson highlighting that one more time. And that was not about Dan Gilbert as we had planned. And or
we can just roll. You know what? I'm going to lean into it. Dan Gilbert played last night. You didn't see him out there, and he played really well. And he had control of the game, and you didn't even notice the fans. That's embarrassing, honestly.
Yes. You know what? Look, as soon as the clip started playing, and again, kudos to Spencer German. As soon as the clip started playing, Chad, I was like, "Oh, we're not hearing the clip that we were looking for." So
getting in the game, but that's I
love it. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll reset here for a moment. We're going to take the NBA MVP discussion, and I want to give it a proper discussion. And for those that don't know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Oklahoma City Thunder, he is the NBA MVP. He is now back-to-back MVP for the NBA was the right call. I want to give some time to that tomorrow, Chad, when we have a little bit more time to discuss that. So what we'll do is we'll regroup. We'll take a quick pause here on Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. When we come back, we'll talk about the Guardians. And man, does it seem like the offense is waking up just a tad bit. So we'll talk about that when we come back here on the Inside Edge Network. That's Chad Bryan to my right. Maybe frozen. I don't know. Chad, are you still with us?
I believe so.
He's back. He was frozen. No, you just did the greatest game of freeze tag I've ever seen in my life. That's Chad Bryan to my right. You're right. I'm Eli Moon. We're back right after this.
So here's the cool thing. The Cavs won last night. I'm here with my main event guys, Rob Ruzicki and Eli Moon. Make sure you watch Midnight Run later on tonight. But Rob, I got to tell you, it felt much better to do a Cavs winning post game than a losing post game.
It felt better and unexpected. I think all of us thought of all the shows we were going to do Sunday night, doing the postmortem on the second round series for the Cavaliers. A blowout win by 31 points in favor of the Cavs was not on the list of probabilities here. So, yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise. Very happy to talk about 2 consecutive Game 7s now that we have had happy post games for. So I hope we can keep the string going.
Main event on Sunday nights here on the Inside Edge Network. And then Eli Moon and Chad Bryan have you covered tonight with Inside Edge Primetime at 10 o'clock. And then I'll be with you for Midnight Run, coming up tonight at midnight, right here on the Inside Edge Network and on our socials at Inside Edge Net.
Whether searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and players. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Go to sportsmemorabilia.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. Sportsmemorabilia.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Moser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Inside Edge Network's very own Ryan Moser and his wife, Hallie. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MoserMomentsPhotography.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. MoserMomentsPhotography.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Find us on InsideEdgeNetwork.com for the latest information on your favorite shows, personalities, and network partners. Plus, guess what? We have a merch shop. That's right, we have network polos, t-shirts, champion jackets, hats, and bottles. Rep the network. Every purchase supports independent sports and entertainment media. Use the QR code on your screen right now to check out InsideEdgeNetwork.com. That's InsideEdgeNetwork.com.
That was so cool. I mean, I think I heard 25 buses came to the game, and I've never seen that in the NBA. Where a visiting team, brings that many people and they're present. Like we heard them. Now we were making shots, and obviously, the Detroit fans were not jumping, but our people were. I just can't believe how good the seats were that they gave. Like, usually when you bring buses, they put you in, like, we had good seats to. I mean, that was so cool behind the bench. I think the players and the coaches appreciated it so much. I think it speaks to, watching how this organization operates, how he, like all the little stuff on the margins he believes in. Like, every little thing counts. And if he thought that was going to give us just a tiny bit boost, which he obviously did, he's going to make the effort, and it, not him. I mean, there's a whole group, right, that made that possible. And like I said, Joe, I've never seen that in the NBA. College maybe, and it mattered. I think it mattered. I think it helped. I think our guys would agree.
The fans.
Oh yeah, they were fantastic. I mean, the Gilberts are unbelievable. It's a big reason why I re-signed here this summer. The way that they take care of the whole organization, the way they take care of families. We got the best family room in the league, I think. They're always doing stuff for, our wives and my kids, and it's just top to bottom a first class organization, and it's because of the Gilbert family. So them bringing up all these people, and they were very, very loud, and it was a lot of fun. Really cool to see.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, which, ladies and gentlemen, would mean he's over to your right. And I'm Eli Moon. We are back here in the saddle. As you just heard, before we tried to go to break, we tried to play some Kenny Atkinson sound about Dan Gilbert. We instead heard about Donovan Mitchell and his leadership, which, again, kudos to Donovan Mitchell, the entire Cavs crew, for really stepping up in a game where a lot of people beforehand were questioning how this team would look going into Game 7, another road game against Detroit. Could they win 2 against Detroit in Detroit? And they did in this series, and that's something that, first off, being proud of to begin with, and then the fact that they're heading to the Eastern Conference Finals just makes it even sweeter. So that's cool. We heard from Kenny Atkinson, obviously, so earlier before the break. That was about Donovan Mitchell against, again, clip courtesy of Spencer German, who had the clip again for this one with Kenny Atkinson and Sam Merrill talking about the impact that Dan Gilbert and the Gilbert family has really left, and it continues to impact this Cavaliers organization. Great owner, and the 25 bus loads of fans. Absolutely incredible. So thanks again to Spencer German from 92.3 The Fan for the clips. Chad, incredible there.
Yeah. The Cavs have the best owner in sports. I don't know that. I mean, can you even argue that? I guess you could argue. You could say what you want about, the Rooney family, whatever. I get it. There's some good families that own, professional sports franchises. But man, Dan Gilbert is, what can you say that hasn't already been said? I mean, you heard Kenny Atkinson there, and you heard from it's amazing what he's done. And it's been consistent. It's not just this series and that Game 7, right? You always hear the little stuff that's like that goes on behind the scenes, and people talk about how, just great of a person really he is to work for, and how wonderful the family is. And so is it, I mean, can two things be true? Can Cleveland have the best and the worst owner in sports? Could it be possible? We don't need to talk about that right now, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought about, what a contrast, right? Between the Browns and the Cavs. It's so crazy. But listen, I don't know. I think the Haslams are trying. I think they're trying to correct their mistakes. And sometimes you overcorrect, and you're trying to do the right thing a little too hard, right? I don't want to give him too much grief. It's not what this is about, man. Dan Gilbert. This is about Dan Gilbert, and he's top notch. I mean, you heard it there. I just don't know other words to say. It's A1. It's like absolute first class, like top drawer. The way he takes care of it, and not just the team, right? The fans, the employees, everybody. It's amazing. You just don't hear about it that often, and he doesn't have to do that, right? But he does.
He does, and you know what? We appreciate him, and I think a lot of people and a lot of Cavs fans at a time were frustrated with him during the letter to LeBron and during the decision and everything. But if anything, if you look at it from a Cleveland point of view, you take out losing LeBron the first time, all that other stuff, he has always gone to bat for Cleveland. He loves Cleveland. I know he's got ties to Detroit, obviously, and that's why it stands out even more that he was sending all the Cavaliers fans to Detroit. But, I just think you can't really talk about the history of Cleveland sports now at this time without Dan Gilbert. Yeah. I truly think, at least in the 2000s, from 2000 on, you cannot talk about this 2000 on, this generation era. Exactly. I couldn't think of the damn word without Dan Gilbert. And so we want to say thank you. I think I would be echoing a lot, at least here on Primetime, Chad and I, saying thank you to Dan Gilbert for continuing to put Cleveland on the map. You showing love to Cleveland. It gives me chills just thinking how much like somebody with a lot more money than me right now loves the city as much as I do, and that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to see.
Absolutely. So we'll stay tuned. Cavs in action tomorrow night in Madison Square Garden. We'll see what's going on with all of that tomorrow night. Of course, we'll have post game with you, Chad, Kyle, and I immediately right after the game. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, all that great stuff. Inside Edge Net is where you're going to want to be. Hit that notification bell so you know when we're going live. Of course, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford will follow one stream tomorrow. So you click the bell or you click the stream once after you have the bell go off, and you're there. Boom, right there with us all night long. And of course, the website, InsideEdgeNetwork.com. Use the promo code INSIDER for 20% off your order at the merch shop right now. Check out the personalities, our great partners. We appreciate them. W Energy, Fanatics.com, SportsMemorabilia.com, Monster Moments, and of course, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. We appreciate all of our great partners, and we appreciate you as well for being here and choosing us as Cleveland's digital leader and your source for sports, entertainment, mental health, conversations, news, and everything in between. And that leads us to one final discussion point. Again, if you missed the last segment, we are going to move the NBA MVP discussion till tomorrow. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, back-to-back MVP. lot going on there from how it was reported and announced to should he have got it. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We're gonna bookmark that tomorrow, so stay tuned tomorrow. But we'd be remiss, and Chad actually might reach through the screen and punch me for the first time in Inside Edge Network, Inside Edge Primetime history.
I wouldn't know whether to punch to the right or to the left. I get confused about where I'm at. I don't know where I am.
Fair. Well, you got a puncher's chance, and luckily we're gonna avoid all of that because we're gonna talk some Guardians here. Guardians heading into the stretch of summer, the summer stretch here, and they are in a weird spot right now, Chad. I mean, they're atop the AL Central, 27-22.
Yeah.
But a lot going on there, and I'm going to hand it off to you. I know I love baseball. I talk a ton of baseball with you, but I like to think you're a resident baseball guy here on the network, and I'd love to have your thoughts so far on a 27-22 Guardians run right now, start to the season, just getting past Tito Francona and the Cincinnati Reds, a little battle there. Yeah. Talk to me about these Guardians. What stood out to you the last few weeks since we've talked about them really last?
It's good.
Okay, cool.
All right,
that's it. No, that's all I got. All right.
No, it's funny. The weather is warming up, and we literally said, watch when the weather warms up. The Guardians are and they're warming up. Listen, I know Stephen Kwan hasn't gotten it going yet. But, Stephen Vogt is doing what he has to do. They've moved Kwan down the lineup. I mean, he's going to figure it out. He knows how to hit, right? With things like Kwan, I always wonder, Eli, is it something physical? Is it an injury? Is it like a wrist thing? Is it an oblique? Is it something physical that's keeping him from having his normal timing at the plate? Or is he not seeing the ball well? It's not a philosophy. Like Stephen Kwan knows how to approach an at bat, right? He knows the strike zone. He's got plate presence. He knows those things.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't worry about, he doesn't really have any holes in his swing. He's got a nice quick stroke. I think with him, it's like, you just worry, like, if he's not seeing the ball, okay, that happens, right? Your timing gets thrown off. Sometimes you got to do a couple drills here and there and get it back. It's something physical. That's what I worry about. Is it the stress of worrying about playing some center field, or is it the stress of knowing he's the first one to go on the trade block if things go south? I don't know. It's just a lot, right? So you can attribute it to something. You just don't really know exactly which one of those things that it is. So,
yeah, I wondered, Chad. I've been thinking this the last few days. I'm curious your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Guardians preparing for life without Stephen Kwan? Like, are we seeing that the last week or two? I mean, he has never not. He's not.
Not a nair, another.
Yeah. Words are hard sometimes. But he's been the leadoff hitter for. Let's try that again. He's been the leadoff hitter for the Guardians for literally the last 2-3 seasons. I mean, he's been cemented in that role in that that leadoff spot. And first off, in the offseason and spring training, the discussion of, are they going to move him over, maybe to center and see if they can get some of these other guys in here? And at first we're like, okay, this is to get the other guys involved because you're not taking Stephen Kwan's spot. And now Daniel Schneemann and Angel Martinez are batting leadoff, trading time there, leading off. And are the Guardians preparing for life without Stephen Kwan? He was on the trade block last year.
Yeah, I think when they talked about moving him over to center, I think that was the beginning of you seeing them begin to prepare for life without him. I think that was, he's always been, the first one to go probably if this thing goes south, which if the American League keeps playing at the clip that they're playing, this thing's never going to go south. I told you before the show, there are 4 teams right now in the entire American League that are above 500. You can rule it out. It's not the AL West at all. And you wouldn't even think of who's in second place in this division right now. You probably wouldn't, if you didn't know, if you weren't following it every day. I don't think you'd even guess it. So I'm not going to make you guess because I already did this before the show, and we know you know it. I'm not going to let you do that, Eli. No, it's the Rays, the Yankees, the Guardians, and the second place team in the AL Central, the Chicago White Sox. Those are the 4 teams right now that are above 500. And if you remember, I didn't think the White Sox would be ready to take this significant of a step forward. They're playing really well right now. I told you in our baseball preview show, I said the White Sox are a better team, right? They're much, much better. But I didn't think, they would be above 500 at this point in the season. And then second place in this division, I thought the Royals might make that jump. I thought, obviously the Tigers might be there, but not the White Sox.
Not the White Sox.
Not yet.
No, and now with Luis Robert being traded this past offseason, one of their best bats and better fielders in Robert. I mean, and the fact that they're doing that without him, I think it's even more of a, just crazy, right? Because think about the White Sox. 3 years ago, they really spent on some big free agents and it didn't work out for them.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, and, I thought it would take them a little bit longer to rebuild, but that's a beautiful thing about baseball. You get a few good farm prospects that come up and impact the team. You make just a few right moves and you're right back in it.
And to get it, listen, I don't think they're going to finish as the second place team in this division. I still don't think they're ready to take that big of a step forward. But right now, with the Tigers everybody's injured in Detroit, right?
Right.
So the Tigers are they're crumbling right now, unfortunately. I mean, I thought this was going to be a fun division to watch between the Guardians and Tigers, but it doesn't look like it's going to shape up that way. The Royals are still going to make a run. The Twins are always there. It never really seems to matter what the Twins' payroll is or who's even on the roster. They just seem to they find a way to hang out at like that 79 and 83 to 82 and 80. Like they're always right there, right? So you never know. On the AL Central, anything can happen. But 4 teams in the American League right now that are above 500. That's wild. I didn't expect that.
And that makes me think, pal, right? Like, you're talking about swinging back to Quan here for a moment. And just a heads up, we are going to run a little bit over.
Yeah.
I think Double A will be okay with it. If not, I'll get a text here in about 30 seconds. I want to, yes, and again, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford at midnight here on the Inside Edge Network. Make sure you stay locked in here with us. Inside Edge Net. All right, let's talk about Quan here a little bit more because we haven't had too much of a discussion really since the season started, right? About Quan after the preview show here on the network. What happens if it stays north, right? To your point, like 4 teams above 500 right now. The Guardians with a decent lead right now, I believe, in the AL Central, 27 and 22. White Sox 24 and 20. So a game and a half, but I mean, could really open up here very soon. And especially if they're the team that the Guardians are worrying about chasing them. To your point, I don't think it'll be too much of a concern when we get into July, mid-July, end of July. We'll see. Could be wrong. Teams have surprised before and they've kept it up. But if this is where the Guardians are at, Chad, and it is going to be them, the Rays, the Yankees, and maybe the White Sox, or maybe another surprise team, do they really consider trading Steven Kwan? The value was super high last year. Super high. I mean, he was batting normal, right? Like the Steven Kwan numbers. And a lot of teams were looking for him. We were talking about sending him out west to Los Angeles Dodgers, or the Yankees might be suitors. Some of these other guys. I mean, the big market teams wanted him. I know he's not batting the best this year, and it's almost like a buy low. And if you're the Guardians, do you dabble in that? I almost am curious if they do. They move him off to a team, recoup prospects. Because keep in mind, they just traded for Patrick Bailey at catcher, and he's not been super hot, in my opinion, for the Guardians.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand they were trying to impact the offensive side, but I think he was batting 8 batting points higher than Austin Hedges.
Yeah, I think they're just looking for more consistent defense back there. From an everyday kind. It leads me to believe that Austin Hedges isn't physically capable of doing it every day.
Right.
And that's if he's not, then that was a great move, right? Because you got to get someone back there. I don't know. It just seemed like a little bit of everything with Naylor.
But
it
wasn't an overpay, pal. That's why I'm curious. Like, it wasn't an overpay for Patrick Bailey. They gave up a first-round pick this year, I believe, and Tugboat Wilkinson. Who look, Papa Moon and I are big Tugboat Wilkinson fans here. Okay, Papa Moon found out he played in the Little League and he was a fan favorite in the Little League World Series, and he was like, he's on our team. So when they traded Wilkinson, and Papa Moon found this knowledge out like 2 weeks ago. When he found this knowledge out, and then finds out a week or so later that he's gone. It broke his heart. We had to have a conversation for a minute, and was it an overpay for a guy that's really not contributing on the side of the ball we need more of?
Well, maybe. We'll see, right? I mean, these things always have a way of working out one way or the other. And hindsight's always 20/20. You can always look back, and I mean, there have been plenty of terrible trades that have happened, but they've also maybe they're bad in the long run, but they've also been they've been beneficial in the short run to whatever team ended up losing it in the long. So it's all about what you know what I mean. It's like, do you want the short term payoff where you have a better defensive stability behind the plate for a team that's trying to get to the World Series, right? Or do you want the long term payoff for a team? The Guardians always seem to find a way to figure it out anyway. I mean, they sit here, they compete every year. You look over the last 10 years, they have the 3rd best record in baseball, despite having one of the lower payrolls. So, they'll figure it out. You just kind of get the feeling that they will, right? They're going to develop one of those fastball slider guys out of, single A, double A, or out of some, mysterious trade, Cal Steven. And he'll come out of nowhere and he'll be the next dominant. Like he'll be, Shane Bieber, or he'll be whatever for a couple of years, 3 or 4 or 5 years. And maybe win a Cy Young or compete for a Cy Young or whatever and be right up there. And all of like, how do the Guardians keep doing this? But they do. That's literally what they do. So I think those are some things that you can rest your laurels on. If you're a Guardians fan, you know that, listen, if they're okay moving on from a guy, then just trust that it'll work out. No organization, I don't know that any organization moves better than the Guardians do, to be honest with you.
Yes, fair, but they've had a few blunders, just to call it, straight down the middle, that they have had some blunders on guys they've given up on too quick prospect-wise.
Sure.
So
But they're not the Angels, right? The Angels seem to always sign the wrong guy. They let Shohei Ohtani go for no reason other than to put, just fans in the seats and they lost him for nothing, right? And they're probably working on losing Mike Trout for nothing in a few years. Who's going to trade? I know the
you don't think Mike Trout retires as an Angel?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Don't you think he's frustrated with?
Don't you think he was frustrated maybe 5 to 7 years ago? It's been the same song and dance for over a decade for Mike Trout.
Yeah, maybe. I
don't know, pal. Yeah, we have a lot of baseball to talk here. I guess my final thought to you, or final question to you, because I'm deferring to you here a little bit. I'm just curious on your thoughts. Again, we haven't talked baseball heavy on prime time here in about a week or two. So I'm curious. For the Guardians right now, they made a move at catcher already. They addressed catcher with Patrick Bailey, and we'll see how that works out. I'll give it a little more time. That's fine.
Give it some time.
Give it a little more time. I'm listening. I gotcha.
Yeah, sometimes with the defensive catchers, you got to let the advanced metrics take over for a while. It's like it doesn't show up right away, but over a course of time, you'll go, oh my gosh, like they're giving up like 0.8 runs per game less, and that makes a big difference when you're a little offensive challenge. So,
I guess my final question here for you tonight, regarding the Guardians and MLB as a whole, is where would you, if the Guardians had to make a move, where would you address if you were the GM, or would you just stand pat? Would you just say, we got the guys?
With this team and the way the American League is right now, I'd probably stand pat, because you've got a situation where, the outfield's a little crowded. I think if you move on from Quan, right now your return isn't quite what it would have been, like you said, last year when his marketability was a little higher. So if you move on from Quan now, I don't think you get quite as much back from a team like the Dodgers or the Yankees. They're going to see the 201, the one home run, and go, well, listen, you moved him out of the out of the leadoff spot. How valuable is he really right now? And unfortunately, that's the business of baseball, right?
Right.
So they're if they're really going to move on from him and put this thing on the shoulders of the young guys, then they're going to need him to flash, a 4 or 5 week span where, he hits, 325, 330 and hits a couple home runs, maybe a few doubles or whatever, steals some bases and brings the OPS up a little bit and starts getting on base and moving the ball around the field a little bit and doing some things offensively. And maybe even to get back to that, just maybe having a Gold Glove outfielder out there. Maybe that's enough for a team like the Dodgers or the Yankees to really push them over the edge, because you got to feel like if you're the Yankees right now, or a team like the Rays, even, you've got a great chance. The American League is just, I don't know, it's very pedestrian right now. And it's not going to stay this way. Someone's going to step up and someone in the AL West is going to finish over 500, right? The A's are right there at 24 and 24, I believe. So they're going to do something. They're going to move, but it's just wild to me that 4 teams are at over 500, and that's it. So it's almost hard to predict, because a lot of divisions have like teams that are stacked up all within a game or game and a half of each other, to where with the extra wild cards now, like you're not really, it's harder to proclaim yourself a buyer or a seller at the deadline. Sometimes that can drag out a little bit longer than you want it to, and you're forced to make a move. Like the Braves, when they won the World Series, they bought in, right? They completely overhauled their outfield. People, what are they doing? They're like 11 games under 500. They came back and won the World Series. So
true.
The precedent is there. You make the right moves, you can really transform your team. But if you reach and stretch too far, you can really set yourself back a few years.
Yeah, another name to keep an eye on that the Guardians could bring up just as without a cost, without having to trade, is Ralphie Velasquez.
Yeah.
They have talked about, I believe the report came out today, I believe multiple reports of him being brought up to AAA Columbus. So we see Ralphie Velasquez. Another thing we'll talk about here as we move along here on Inside Edge Primetime. We're not going anywhere. We're here with you weeknights.
And by the way, quickly, I wanted to say this about Travis Bazzana. If you're not watching, he's having some really, really good, like major league veteran at bats. I know he's not always getting the results, but the batting average is coming up. He's hitting really well lately. Listen, stick with this guy as a fan. He's going to be a really good player. You can see that he understands just the every aspect of hitting when he's at the plate. He's a really, really, really huge talent. Stick with this guy. He's going to be really good.
Yeah, and if you thought Chad was joking, he said 3 to 4 reelies in that, and so he's being serious.
A
All
lot
right,
of reallys, yeah.
really, really, for real. All right,
Really, really,
no,
for really, really, yeah.
keep an eye on Bazana. Keep an eye on the Guardians. They are leading the AL Central. Funny, Chad, and we'll swing the final thoughts here in a second. But it's kind of crazy to think 2016, right? 10 years ago now. 2016, the NBA champion, Cleveland Cavaliers. The Guardians were running to the World Series, and during this time, they were doing a summer stretch where they were taking over the Central. And if you think about the Cleveland Browns, they were in a quarterback battle with Deshaun Kaiser and Cody Kessler, I believe, at that time.
Trust
so
me.
if you think about it, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Hopefully this time the Cavs can still bring it home. 10 years later, the Guardians can finish the job. We'll talk about that later on in October.
Yeah, some things never change.
Yeah, some things never change. Oh my goodness, Chad. All right, we're running a little bit over. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
So let's go to final thoughts here before the light starts changing. Yeah, before the light starts changing and Keurig, starts going. That's the bat signal for AA. Once that Keurig starts brewing, we got to start moving. So what's some final thoughts you got, pal? You want me to go first, or you got some?
I'm just really curious to see what happens with the American League Central and with the Guardians. I think that this is their division to grab and put a stranglehold on, right? And just really run away with it. Again, the White Sox are in second place right now. White Sox are better. They're definitely a better team than they were last year. There's no doubt about it. I know, you probably don't expect much from a team that wins like 9. They won like 9 games last year, it felt like. But they're a lot better. They're not going to finish second in this division. The Tigers are crumbling. Skubal is on the who knows what's going to happen with him. I'm concerned about his immediate future and almost concerned about his long-term future. We'll see. I hate to say that, but it is what it is. But yeah, the Twins, like I said, they find a way to hang around, but they're not going to excel. We talked about the Guardians. If they could win like 92 to 94 games, we thought like, man, they're really going to struggle with the Tigers. If they win 92 to 94 games, they're going to win this division by 10.5 games. The Royals will be there. They'll hang around. They'll be right there. But I don't think the Royals have 92 to 95 wins in them, really. So just pay attention and I enjoy this summer of baseball because I think the Guardians, I'm not going to say they have an easy ride to the AL Central, but it's theirs for the taking. When the offense gets going like it has these last couple of 80-degree days, it's finally warmed up, and here goes the offense. They got to figure out the bullpen, got to figure out the back end, obviously some things to work out down there. But have some faith in them. They always seem to find a guy that, Andrew Miller in a trade or somebody, from the farm system that comes in. And again, it's just that reliable fastball slider guy that can get a ton of guys out. So have a little faith and just enjoy the summer of baseball because I think the Guardians are about to do some big things.
I love it. I love it. My final thoughts here, Chad, are about the Rousey-Carano fight. There's a lot of lowlights, a lot of highlights. Lowlights, Intuit Dome was not ready to host a Netflix first ever MMA card.
Not into it.
A lot of blinking lights, a lot of not fans being by those blinking lights. So that was a bummer because you look at Rocket Mortgage Arena. I was there at UFC 203 covering the event when Stipe Miocic knocked Alistair Overeem out, and it was rocking. I mean, absolutely rocking. I saw some posts on social media from some actual promoters that have done mixed martial arts, promoted events here in Cleveland, do a really good job. And they brought up even Rocket Arena being, a great atmosphere. So I thought that was a blunder there, but you're going to put it in Los Angeles. You're going to put it in a big city, big market. Sure. Netflix loves Los Angeles, so understandable. Some lowlights as well. I love Nate Diaz. It might be time for Nate Diaz to call it an MMA career. 41 years old, and he just looked very sluggish. Just didn't look like prime time Nate Diaz, right? Like the guy that was in his prime running, just the bully, the guy that was, you went to the ground with Nate Diaz, you were in trouble. And he had a few moments against Mike Perry, but it was never like, okay, this is Nate Diaz going to work. And the Inglewood crowd was behind him. He's from Stockton. The Stockton slap, it never came to fruition for Nate Diaz. It's being stopped there before the third round, actually, by the referee because Nate Diaz he has all the scar tissue, so the bleeding and so that fight stopped. That was a low light because I just wanted I was excited about that one. Some highlights, however, I got a few highlights before we get out here.
Okay.
One, Francis Ngannou, the best heavyweight in the world, unless you're talking Alex Pereira, which I don't think we'll ever see that fight because of Ngannou leaving the UFC. Now we'll see what he does with Jake Paul and MVP. Their partnership in a way. Netflix and seeing what they do with MMA cards in the future. I think that was a huge moment to have Francis Ngannou on there. A big first-round knockout. He's a lot of fun to watch. Chad, I know you're not necessarily the biggest MMA guy in terms of the current product, but if you need a reason to watch, anytime Francis Ngannou is on, or I know he's fighting, I will text you and tell you to watch that specific fight because he is must-see television. John Jones is still with the UFC. He's sitting there at the desk up top, and they're talking about a potential Ngannou-John Jones fight. For MMA fans, for UFC fans, for anybody that loves a good old fight, you know that Francis Ngannou and John Jones would be must-see, whether it's on the, it's not going to be on the UFC, but whether it was there or now here on Netflix with MVP and whatever. What are they going to do to get these guys paid? Which is another highlight. Jake Paul is getting these guys paid. MVP and Netflix looking out for these guys, getting them more paid than they were with the UFC. It's a big discussion is fighter pay. And we'll talk more about that here in the coming weeks on Primetime. I got some more thoughts on that. But that was a big win. Francis Ngannou, having John Jones in the building, Tyron Woodley, just a bunch of faces. Funny enough, a lot of guys Jake Paul fought. Tyron Woodley, Nate Diaz, Mike Perry. I mean, just interesting. So that was big. And the biggest thing of all, I just got to get off my chest. I've heard the talk for the fight was Saturday, so about 2 days now, 2 full days. If you haven't watched a Ronda Rousey fight, I'm going to let you know that Saturday night was about as normal as a Ronda Rousey fight's going to get. Fight ended in 15 seconds. Gina Carano had instantly no offense, taken down, pummeled a few times, armbar, over. And I know everybody's like, well, why? This is a joke. Jake Paul and, his fight promotion and all. And I can understand to a degree some of the boxing fights and the cards that are put out there, despite the actual talent on those cards, it's usually kind of a gimmick. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, who's trained with Ronda Rousey, part of the 4 horsewomen with Ronda Rousey in the MMA world, she mentioned about how there's literally 5 fights you could put together that would accumulate to less than maybe 4 minutes of actual. If you put the full fight together, it would accumulate to less than 4 minutes on a YouTube video. I mean, she was constantly finishing fights in a minute, 2 minutes. It was like Mike Tyson of MMA. That's what made her a spectacle. Is she was putting the armbar on all these women and beating them up very quickly in her prime. And you can say what you want about Ronda Rousey. I think she's a pioneer for MMA. I think the time passed her in terms of the fighters that came in after. Amanda Nunes, just all these fighters after, right? But she has a place in history. This is her last fight. She announced she's going to spend more time with her family, have some more babies, is what she's saying, and keep increasing the family. Yeah, so she deserves it. But I think my final thought, and I know it was a little long-winded, but my final thought is if you haven't seen a Ronda Rousey fight and you were mad about Saturday, I don't know what to tell you. This is what she's done her entire career. And you add the fact that Gina Carano hasn't fought in 17 years. What are we talking about? That's my final thoughts.
There are going to be a lot of parents, Eli, wherever her kids go to school, hoping, man, I really hope my kid doesn't get into it with her kid and I don't have to go to a meeting with Ronda Rousey. And I mean, like moms, dads, whatever. I'm going to be like, I don't want to do this. This can't be a problem. So yeah, good for her, man. She's do what she wants to do.
Absolutely. And if I recall correctly, Chad, her husband is Travis Brown. Yes, they're still with Travis Brown. She's still with Travis Brown. They're still together. Travis Brown fought in the UFC as well. He was a UFC heavyweight contender for a minute. So the genes are
tough kids. I guess that may not be a problem. They got some tough kids. Yeah.
Absolutely, awesome. Pal. Hey man, always a good time, Chad. We had so much fun. We were just gonna rock all the way to Friday. We were just gonna stay on the stream till Friday and do our thing. But they are gonna tell us we should get some sleep here. Well, you get some sleep. I'll be producing Midnight Run at midnight. We will be back with you tomorrow, Tuesday, same time, same place, 10 o'clock here on the Inside Edge Network for another great edition of Inside Edge Primetime. We'll have Tuesday Top 5, a very, very exciting Tuesday Top 5. Can't wait. Chad and I got to work a little bit early this week for you on Tuesday Top 5. Sometimes we wait till day of, see what happens, if there's any surprising things that could come our way that we, reshape the list. Yeah. Got a little bit ahead of the game because, man, there's some noise being made with our topic tomorrow. We'll talk about that. Of course, we have some NBA MVP discussion that we have not got into yet, and I really can't wait to talk to Chad about that and so much more. It's us. We'll figure out something funny to talk about. We'll talk about Chad's grass again. Chad, I'll tell you this. It's almost time for me to cut the grass. It's almost time.
So I thought about doing it today, but I didn't do it again today.
Hey, you know what? Yeah. There's always tomorrow, pal. And with that being said, of course, make sure you like, subscribe, follow Inside Edge Net on all the socials. If you've enjoyed the content tonight, the content all week long, daily coverage, weekly shows, so much here for you as Cleveland's digital leader and your source of sports, entertainment, mental health conversations, and so much more. Everything in between. Of course, news as well. Now with Unfiltered with Kyle Cornell, 5 to 6 p.m. And check out the website, InsideEdgeNetwork.com. Use that promo code INSIDER on the shop. Go get some great Inside Edge gear, Inside Edge Network gear, 20% off. And, of course, check out the personalities, the partners, W Energy, sportsmemorabilia.com, AlleyRoseFragrances.com, Fanatics.com, and Mosser Moments. Of course, we appreciate all of our great partners. We appreciate you at home. for rocking with us wherever you may be. And that's going to do it. For Chad Bryan, am I right? You're right. Am I right? You're right. I had to make sure. I was like, hold on. Is he on my left? Is he on my left?
I
He's
don't
not.
know. I think I'm on the right.
He's on his right, my right, your right, everybody's right. Tonight, because you've been with Inside Edge Primetime, I'm on the right. I'm Eli Moon. That's Chad Bryan to my left, your left. And he's right back to the right. Of course, Chad and Eli will be with you all week long. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Don't go to sleep. It's going to get unhinged here at midnight. Anthony Alford, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford right here on the Inside Edge Network at midnight. Stay tuned. We will be, and we'll see you tomorrow.